Hey guys, welcome back. I want to try a new format. Let me know if you like it, if you are interested in it. Obviously, I also see this via the clicks. If you click it a lot, then I think you're interested. If you don't, then that is also telling me a lot. So there is this site, if you don't know that already, Road of the King, that does on a weekly basis a metagame report for the OCG. And I myself tend to read this metagame report. It's pretty short and it basically shows us what we can expect to be good decks in the future, especially because our ban list is kind of like the OCG's ban list. We have Maxi, they have Maxi, so decks that are good in the OCG, that tells us that this could also be decks that are good here with us in Master Duel because of, as I said, the triple Maxi. Just have to put out the Discord. Okay, so let's look at this. You can see here metagame breakdown. This is on a weekly basis and they basically look what the top decks from tournaments were. You can see a list down here with the most represented decks, but you can also see it here in the pie chart. We have the metagame OCG from August. And the top deck here, and we will look at this in a moment, is Rescue Ace. And if you don't look at the TCG or don't look at the OCG, you might not be familiar with this deck. You also might not be familiar with the Purely deck, but you might be familiar, or you will be familiar with Telemans, Labyrinth, Runic, branded, not so much Magician, and the rest is other. So 1/4 of the metagame is Rescue Ace. So you could say that this at the moment is the most successful deck in the OCG. After that you have Purely and then Telemans. And what the Road of the King side also shows us are some example deck lists, and you also can find here some text that describes to you how the deck works or what special texts are integrated in the deck in the week that is shown here in this article. So you can see this is a fire-based deck. We will just switch over here to Master Duel Meta just to take a look at the cards. Obviously we can sort them a bit further by typing Rescue Ace. So these are the Rescue Ace cards. Obviously we don't have them in Master Duel right now. They are all out in the TCG, all out in the OCG, and even in the TCG this deck at the moment is very, very strong. We will get this deck in the future. Same with Purely here, which we can take a quick look at. Purely, Little Cats, we will also take a look at them in a moment in Master Duel Meta on the card list. The interesting thing is that of course we are expecting Kashtira to come next, but in like the order of booster sets coming out, we would now get the pack that has the first Rescue Ace cards and the first Purely cards. So I think these two archetypes are not that far off, though both archetypes will need their second wave of support to be really good, especially Rescue Ace, which a lot of people thought in the beginning was a bad deck, but then with the new support, it really became good. So what's the core strategy here? So the core strategy of Rescue Ace is to summon out Rescue Ace Turbulence. You could call this the boss monster of the deck somehow. So you want to get out your Turbulence here, which you can do by banishing 2 other Rescue Ace monsters, and then Turbulence has the effect that it can set 4 different spells or traps, normal traps or quick play spells, Rescue Ace, from your deck. This is really strong, so what you would do, basic combo line that you would go for is you would start with your Airlifter, which would be able to search your Emergency. Emergency then is able to search your Hydrant, which is able to search Turbulence. And then because there are a lot of Rescue Ace cards in your graveyard already, you can banish 2 to special summon the Turbulence, activate Turbulence's effect. And then you can set the Contain, which is basically target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, and the effect monster cannot attack, and its effect are also negated. And then all of these cards, the traps and the quick play spells, have bonus effects when Rescue Ace Hydrant is on the field. So for example, the Contain has the bonus effect also if you control Rescue Ace Hydrant. It cannot be used as material for Fusion, Synchro, X-Ray or Link Summon. So this is basically a negation. Then we have Extinguish, which destroys an effect monster, and if you control a Hydrant, then the effects can also not be activated. Then you have the Rescue, where you can target one Rescue Ace monster in your grave, or if you control Hydrant, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard instead and special summon it to your field. And we have the Alert, which is basically search a Rescue Ace monster from the deck if you have the Hydrant on the field. Otherwise, you can search it from your graveyard to the hand. Reinforced is a card that's not being played. The field spell is also being played, and there are some other cards that are also not being played, namely the Intruder is not really a card that's being played. The Engine, not in every deck. Some decks don't even play the Fire Attacker, so you can see that this deck doesn't need a lot of its Engine cards to really be good. The power play is to get the Turbulence on the field, set the 4 spells and traps, and really like benefit and profit from that and be able to interrupt your opponent on his turn. So this is Rescue Ace. In my opinion, I'm really looking forward to the deck. I really like the design. For me, design is definitely a big part. I like the design of all these fire type cards, even though a friend of mine was like, oh, it's like a machine. They are all machines, by the way, and sometimes the machine monsters are not that impressive, are not that cool when it comes to card design, but in the case of the Rescue Ace cards, I think they are really nice. I like this red background that they all have in terms of their fire typing, of course. So this is really nice and will be a very impactful deck when we get it in Master Duel, though, as I already said, we will need to wait for the second wave. The next deck is Purely, which are little cats that go into XYZ bigger cats. And this deck is a bit more complicated. I'm really looking forward to that one because... And we don't have some of the cards here. These are still in Japan language, in Japanish, in this one as well. So the idea with the Purely cards is that they have a lot of these quick play spells. So Purely Pretty Memory, Purely Sleepy Memory, Happy Memory, and Delicious Memory. This is the field spell, and this is basically a search card. And these quick play spells are all attached to one of the XYZ cats. So Plum, for example, is attached to Delicious Memory, Happy Memory is attached to Happiness, Beauty to Pretty, and then there is this one, Noir, which is attached to Sleepy Memory. And then all of them, I think all of them, no, only Happiness and only Noir have like second stage. The boss monster of this archetype is the Noir, which is unaffected once it has 5 or more materials, which is pretty easy to accomplish. Because what you have to understand is that if you have the basic cats onto the field, then this cat here, the Purely, can target one of your quick play spells in your hand, and then rank up to that XYZ monster which belongs to this quick play spell. So for example, let's imagine you have this Purely on the field and you have a Sleepy Memory in hand. Then you can activate Purely's effect, target Sleepy Memory in the hand, and then Sleepy Memory as well as the Purely will go into the Purely Noir, and then you can special summon it to the field. This one here, the Pure Lily, does the same thing but with cards from the graveyard. And these quick play spells all have the effect that they can summon either this or this girl to the field, and then they can activate their effects. And then all of the little guys, so the Happiness, Beauty, the Noir, and the Plump, have also the effect that if you thrice per turn, so you can activate this thrice per turn, when you activate one of the quick play spells, you can then attach the quick play spells to the little cats, and then they have more material. So you can see why it's pretty easy to get your Purely Noir, which is your boss monster, with 5 or more cards. And there are some really amazing and stupid combos possible with, for example, Sleepy Memory, which, as you can see down on the card, it says a Purely XYZ monster that has this card as material gains this effect. Once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, you can draw 1 card. And if you manage, and that is definitely possible, to get all 3 Purely Sleepy Memory under your, for example, Purely Noir, then you would be able to draw 3 cards on your opponent's turn. But that's not enough. You can also use then your Purely Yeep, which is basically a trap that allows you to rank up one of your little girls into the bigger one. So you could draw 3 cards with the Purely Noir. If you have 3 Sleepy Memory attached to that, then you can rank up the Noir into the Purely Noir. And then, because this is a new monster, which still has the 3 Sleepy Memories attached to as its material, can draw another 3 cards. So if you manage to get all of them under the Purely Noir and have the trap, which Purely Noir can set from the deck via its effect, Then you can, in an extreme case, draw 6 cards in your opponent's standby phase, which is a full going second hand, which is just crazy in my opinion. But yeah, that's basically the strategy of the deck. Of course, you can see there's also the Zeus package in here that is being run. Of course, it's an XYZ deck, so that makes a lot of sense. And then we have tier elements. Of course, the OCG loves its tier elements, is still running tier elements, but you can see there are some other packages in here. For example, the Adventurer package is here together with the Illegal Knight. And you can see tier elements is also pretty hit very hard here in the OCG. The Shufflers, the Shizu cards are at 1. Every tier name is at 1. And then there's this card, the Tier Elements Kashtira, which we, I guess, will get in the next pack or the pack after that, which is a nice addition to Tier Elements. We'll get it back on another power level. But yeah, still a deck that a lot of people are playing in the OCG. I think people just love tier elements, just love to play the deck. So it's still around, still hanging around, being played by a lot of people. And then you can see we are at the end of this meta report, because they tend to show like the first 3 or the first 4 big archetypes. So Labyrinth last week was a big more like I had a bigger pie chart, but since then has been dropping in popularity a bit. So you can see the OCG meta at the moment consists of Rescue Ace being the most used and strongest decks, followed by Purely the Cats, which is also a deck that is around for quite a while now in the OCG and has really proven its status as a really good deck, and then still Tier Elements. So we can expect these decks in the future, namely Purely and the Rescue Ace deck. So let me know in the comments, guys, if you like this video, if you're interested in looking with me over the OCG metagame report on a weekly basis. I would like that, but obviously I also just want to do it if you guys are interested in it. I don't do it for myself. So thanks for being here. We will see each other in the next one.